First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank you all for getting here safely this morning. I know how difficult traffic can be sometime in Raleigh and moving around and rubbernecking. I thank everyone with the Northridge Country Club. You almost have to know where it is to make that right turn coming up Falls News. So I work at UPS. We make a lot of right turns. In fact, we try to make all right turns. And so it was easy for me getting here. So, and I'm glad it was for you too as well. I'm Clayton Dorn, and again, like I said, I work at UPS. And I want to welcome you here this morning for this annual awareness breakfast. An opportunity for us to share with you what JA is doing out in the community, and for you to come along with us and share too in our community. One of the biggest reasons that I participate with JA, I didn't want to wear JA coming up in a rural town in South Carolina, but I wished I would have had the opportunity. I basically waited and fortunate enough to have a skill to get a scholarship to go to college, and had an opportunity to volunteer with JA as a college student. And the experience I got from JA is not what I went and taught in the curriculum that's provided for us, but what I got back from doing it and my personal growth. And I can look back and say, hey, I got that from JA, and it's doing great things for me. So it makes me a lot comfortable, even coming up here speaking to you today. It's that simple. But let me take this opportunity to also speak on the behalf of UPS and why we contribute to JA in a large amount, not only with funds, but volunteer hours. JA is an opportunity for us to volunteer every month, every day, and for us to grow young people in our organization and give them an opportunity to go out and volunteer as well. One of the things it does, of course, we ask for each one of our 400,000 plus employees. We ask for 4 hours a year, and that's very minimum. So some of us ask for a little bit more than that because once they go out and they start volunteering, we get more. And of course, the contributions, you know, you need money to do anything. We do want your volunteer hours first, and then once you get in the program, we know you'll see that we need funds to make it even better, as great as it is. I also got the privilege to do a couple things today. I got the opportunity to welcome you. I got the opportunity to, I want to thank Lloyd Corporation for sponsoring this awareness breakfast. Thank you. Also, it's some green stickers. And next year, if I get the opportunity to come up and welcome you, I would like to see the whole room with green stickers on them. Say, I taught JA. It's a wonderful thing. I would encourage you, if you get the opportunity, to please do it. And when I come back, I can identify you with the JA sticker. So next year, we'd like to do that. The other thing that I have in hand and I would like to do, I have to introduce a seventh grader. And when we found out that she was going to take on this opportunity to do be our MC, first thing I looked at was her name. And you can look at your program and appreciate the name. So I've been practicing this name for several times. And you know, you talk to everybody pronounces it differently. I am a Southerner. I do have a Southern drawl, so you know, it's kind of tough for me to get through. And so you go ask somebody, no, you say it this way. No, you say it this way. So first thing this morning, I was glad to see her. I was like, how do you pronounce your name? So she gave me a bio on how I'm going to do this. But thank you, wonderful student at East Wake. And I'll introduce her in a few seconds, and she'll come up. But I want to take this opportunity for everyone with the green stickers, or if you've taught at JA, I'm going to ask you to stand this time so we can give you an applause. Thank you, and thank you. Again, next year, everybody will stand because everybody have green stickers on. Okay, I want to introduce Aurora Lazoff. She's a 7th grader from East Wake Middle School. Last year, she as a 6th grade classmate, they had teams of volunteers from Cisco come out and do JA in a day, and they talk economics for success in the format, and she's going to tell you about that later, so I won't steal it. So at this time, I have Aurora come up. Okay.
Good morning. I'm excited to be here with you this morning. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Rick McNeil. Mr. McNeil joined Lord Corporation as president and CEO in 2002 and retired in 2012. He currently serves as chairman of the board of directors. Lord was founded in 1924 and is committed to improving the performance of its customers' products in the automotive, aerospace and defense, general industrial, and electronics market. Lord has its global headquarters in Cary, North Carolina, and is proud to work closely with Junior Achievement and other community organizations to support STEM education. Please welcome Mr. Rick McNeil.
Thank you, Aurora. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be back. I've done this for a few years now, for those of you that are veterans. Lord's been involved in Junior Achievement this was our 6th year now, and I've taught classes the last 4, and we'll teach another one this year. As we read the papers these days, other than what's going on in Washington right now, a lot of it is all about education and all the challenges that we have from a national perspective, all the challenges we have from a state perspective, the STEM skills issues, science, technology, engineering, and math, economics, understanding of economics. We're just not where we need to be. And Junior Achievement is a great opportunity to address many of those issues and solve some of the problems of the job mismatches that we have, where the kids that are coming out of school today don't have the skills from a communication perspective, from a collaboration perspective, or from the STEM and economics type perspective. JA is a great way to get involved, to trigger an interest in children in all of these subjects. Having taught several 5th grade classes, I do 5th grade every year. 5th grade focuses a lot on STEM skills, on globalization, helping them write a resume, so a lot of things to get them thinking about opportunities for careers, and it's very rewarding to teach it. I was also involved in Junior Achievement in high school, and it certainly piqued my interest in being interested in a business career, which I have been very fortunate to enjoy. I've joined many others at Lord in teaching. Last year we reached over 640 students, and many of the teachers are sitting here this morning. We've grown the program significantly since we started 6 years ago. If you're not already involved and don't have one of these green stickers, I encourage you to get involved. It's a lot of fun. Last year, the teacher that I had all the kids write a thank you note to me, and I was extremely impressed by the capabilities of some of those 5th grade students and the notes that they wrote to me. Brought a tear to my eye, took it home and gave it to my wife, and she read them all. So it's a very rewarding experience, and I encourage you all to do it. And enjoy your breakfast and have a good time this morning. Thank you.
We will now take a short break from our program to enjoy our breakfast. We're ready to get started. I hope you all enjoyed your breakfast. While you finish up, we are going to move on with the program so we can be sure to have you out of here on time. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. June Atkinson, our State Superintendent of Public Instruction. Dr. Atkinson is the first woman elected state superintendent of the public school in North Carolina and has served in this position since August 2005. Dr. Atkinson oversees almost 1.5 million students in over 2,500 public schools. She has served as a chief consultant and director of the areas of business education, career and technical education, and instructional service within the NSDPI. A former business education teacher, Dr. Atkinson has been involved in instruction and curriculum development throughout her career. She has held many professional offices and currently serves on the board of directors for the National Council and Chief State School Officers. Dr. Atkinson received a bachelor's degree in business education from Harvard University, a master's degree in vocational and technical education from Virginia Tech, and a doctorate in educational leadership and policy from North Carolina State University. Please welcome Dr. June Atkinson.
Thank you, Aurora, and what a pleasure it is to be here with business and industry people, some educators, and especially our students. It is a pleasure because I know how important it is to the 1.5 million children that we have in our schools to have the involvement of business and industry in the learning process for our students. The truth of the matter is that educators alone cannot do the job that is before us, and that is to have a 100% graduation rate for all of our students, to make sure that our students who graduate from our high schools are prepared for community colleges and universities, and that they are prepared for the world of work. We also know that it's very important for our students to be good citizens. So that is why it is so important that business people and others join hands for the benefit of our students. And I'm especially pleased to be here at JA. I did not participate in JA when I was a student, and the reason is that I live so far in the rural areas of Bedford County, Virginia, that it would take at least an hour's drive to get to some place where junior achievement could help. But when I was a teacher in Charlotte, Mecklenburg, I had a good working relationship with JA in Charlotte, Mecklenburg, and I even volunteered ever so often with JA, and I know what a wonderful benefit JA is to the students you serve here in this area. One of the things that's so great about JA is that it promotes teamwork for the benefit of the students. And students really can see the benefit of teamwork and adults being in their lives. And I really appreciated, Rick, your using some thank you notes that students had written about what you had done for them. And I received an email from a teacher who sent me a letter or an essay that one of her students had written. And the essay was about teamwork, and the letter went something like this. My mom and I went to Walmart to buy some wrapping paper and a card when I saw a little boy crying his eyes out. And I go over to him and say, "What is wrong?" And he replied, "I can't find my mother." And he said, so I said to him, "Well, let me find your mother for you." So I took his hand and we went up and down the aisles in Walmart. But do you know how many moms there are in Walmart? So students recognize the importance of teamwork. And with our all-time high graduation rate of 82.5%, the highest that it's ever been in the history of North Carolina, we know that we have lots of work to do to go from 82.5% to our goal of 100%. And that will require business and industry to help us, as you are now doing with JA. The other great thing about the teamwork is that you, as business people, can help us as educators to see the relevancy of what is being taught in English, math, science, social studies, art. And you can help students see that relevance. Because in today, and I'm sure you asked this question when you were a student, when will I ever use this stuff? And so you bring that dimension of helping students to understand, when will I ever use this stuff? And the other great thing about working in partnership as a JA volunteer is that you really help us to engage students in understanding what the world of work is all about. I was asked about 2 years ago to speak at a 5th grade career day in Johnston County. And so I dressed in red, and because I went to NC State, and let's hear it for the Wolfpack. But anyway, I was there, and I started telling the students that I had had 10 jobs in my career. And so I told them that I had worked as a 14-year-old in a tomato canning factory, that I had worked at Sears selling clothes during Christmas, and I told them that I was the highest salesman during Christmas of selling clothes. And what happened is that I was working in the women's department, and it was, so men were coming in asking and wanting to buy dresses for their wives or pants or whatever. And 9 out of 10 men said to me, when I said, "What size does your wife wear?" The men would say, "She's about your size." So I knew every woman in Roanoke, Virginia was not about my size. So I would just look at the man and think, "Oh, I believe your wife wears a size 4, or your wife wears a size 12, or your wife wears a size 6. Good for me, I didn't have to work after Christmas to to work with all of those exchanges. But I told the students about that job, and then I told them about working for a private detective as a secretary, and about how I learned a lot of new words. Of course, I didn't use some of those words with those students. And then I talked about teaching, and so I went on and on. But then I got the letter from a student who said, "I was so impressed with how you can work 10 jobs in one day." If I were to work 10 jobs in one day, I would come home so tired that I would have to just flop on the couch and go to sleep. So it is important in communicating with students to have clarity, but it's also important to communicate to students what it's like to be a scientist. What is it like to be a CEO? What's it like to be an automotive technology mechanic? What is it like to be a nurse? Because I have found that students really listen to adults when they don't have to. And think about that for a second. And I know that so often that students listen to what we say when we don't even think that they're listening. So our children need quality role models so that they can understand that it's important to report to work on time. It's important to do a day's work for a day's pay. It is important to be a member of a team. It is important to treat people with respect. So you have that opportunity as you work with students as a part of JA to help our students understand the importance of what they're learning, and it's important for them to see you so that you can be a part of the decision-making process about what will I be when I grow up. And I don't know if any of you read the comic strip, but I love the comic strip in the News and Observer. And last night, when I got home about 11 o'clock, I had to read the funny papers, but I thought this was so cute, and I think it was in Beetle Bailey. And they were talking, it says, "I want to go from what am I going to be when I grow up to when are you going to grow up?" So you are a part of helping our students to understand what they want to be when they grow up. And you are a part of helping them to explore all the many opportunities that we have here in North Carolina and in the United States. The other reason why I believe it's so important for you to continue your work in JA is that you are helping students to understand the importance of financial literacy, the importance of how to stretch every dime out of every dollar. And that reminds me of a first grade teacher who asked her students to complete famous proverbs. For example, if at first you don't succeed, then try again. Well, the first grader said, if at first you don't succeed, then get new batteries. And at my table during breakfast, we were talking about the influence of technology and what's the role of technology in our schools. And so I think that proverb ending with get new batteries really reflects the students that we have in our schools today. Students who have grown up from the day they were born until now they're in school with technology being around us. And so you can have an influence there also. But another question another proverb that the first grade teacher asked was, it is better to be safe than? Sorry, well, the first grader said, it is better to be safe than to hit a fifth grader. And that is really true. And so consequently, not only do you have the opportunity to help students understand financial literacy, but you have the opportunity to help students to understand how you resolve conflict without violence, or how you resolve conflict without calling each other bad names. But going to financial literacy, the student was asked, a penny saved is? Well, the first grade student really understood financial literacy, and the first grade student said, a penny saved is not much. So I am sure that somewhere this little first grader had someone in JA to help them understand the whole notion of financial literacy. But as I look across this audience here at Northridge, I recognize that you can have a great influence and you can be a wonderful partner to our teachers who are working so hard every day to make a positive difference for students. And we need your help. We need your help. We need you to be our partners. We need you to help us solve some of the thorny issues that our schools are facing. And we need you to continue your commitment to the students you see in those classrooms and outside of classrooms. And we need you as our partners to make sure that we move toward a 100% graduation rate, that we move to the place where our students can leave our high schools, go to community colleges, universities, remediation free, and we need you to help us to make sure that our students have the knowledge, skills to get business industry credentials. We have a goal of having our students who graduate to get a 125,000 credentials throughout North Carolina. We need your help. And we also need your help in ensuring that North Carolina is an international leader in reading and mathematics. We are not there yet, but I am confident that with your partnerships throughout this county and others, we are well on our way. So I'm thanking you on behalf of all the children who may not know your name, and I am thanking you on behalf of our teachers who appreciate so much the work you do to help their job to be just a little easier. So thank you, Bibi, very much for inviting me to speak with you today. goes on.
Thank you, Dr. Atkinson. Now we'll get to introduce a few people who will tell us about their experience with Junior Achievement and how the program impacts their students and their business. First, we will hear from Mr. Ian Solomon, who is principal at Wait Young Men Leadership Academy.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be able to come and talk about, very briefly, the impact that Junior Achievement had on my life. When I'm thinking about and reflecting on what Mr. Dorn shared with us in our welcome and Dr. Atkinson's keynote address, it definitely speaks to me personally. Having grown up in a small town in Eastern North Carolina, Kinston, opportunities, come few and far between for the majority of us that have grown up in those environments. But because of the exposure to Junior Achievement, I got my first taste and first exposure to people like yourselves who are working in a number of fields, who are running businesses and things of that nature, that sparked my interest in knowing that there was something above and beyond Kinston, North Carolina, and I love where I grew up, but that there was a greater world that was out there before me. It was through JA that I wrote my first resume. It was through JA that I had my first public speaking engagement. It was through JA that I played the stock market game and understood that, when people talked about stocks and bonds, they weren't talking about GoldenEye or James Bond movie or, Christmas stockings or something like that. So it really broadened my horizons. And so we fast forward to 25 years, and I have an opportunity, along with my colleague Teresa Peary, to open up one of two single-gender academies here in Wake County. I want to say the first of their kind here in the state of North Carolina. And with our focus on leadership development through the lens of volunteer service, but also entrepreneurship, Junior Achievement seemed to be, in my mind, a perfect fit. So when my career development coordinator talked to me about JA, I was all over it because it was, for me, a flashback to my experiences growing up. And to date, we've had JA in a Day that just took place on last Friday in our school. We've had a number of you come to our school, including UPS and Clayton Dorn, working with our students in career development activities. Our students had an opportunity to tour Credit Suisse, and it's just the beginning of a number of things that we hope to utilize through Junior Achievement to broaden and better the lives of our students. So I just want to close in saying that if there's ever a doubt that what you're doing doesn't matter, just take a look at me, because if it weren't for people like yourselves, I can honestly say that the likelihood that I'd be standing before you this morning would be significantly reduced. And I want to thank you for all that you do for the children of North Carolina and Eastern North Carolina through JA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Now I would like to take a few minutes to tell you about my personal experience with Junior Achievement's work at my school, Eastwick Middle. Many people take advantage of education. All children in the world would love to have the opportunity to succeed at something in life. When JA walked through our doors, it helped us learn how economics today improve our lives and our futures. The fun part were the games, but they weren't just games. They were educating us on how economics shapes our lives. Teachers see hundreds of kids, but sometimes don't know what they go through. Many kids are neglected at home, and when coming to school, they see a future ahead of them and to pursue new opportunities. When I think back on what JA means to me, I think opportunity. I say opportunity because it let me gain insight into my future, my reality, and my life. JA not only gave me information, it gave me strength and hope to be the best I can be. JA brought adult themes and ideas into our classroom and let me see firsthand that I can do anything, be anything, and achieve anything. Thank you, JA. Next, I would like to introduce Ms. Nicole Reginelli, who is Community Relations Manager at Fidelity Investments. Oh.
Good morning. Thank you so much, everybody, for allowing me to be here. I just wanted to give it the perspective of a corporate partner in our work with junior achievement over the last few years. Fidelity has a really long and proud tradition of giving back in the community where it has a large number of employees. And we focus on the education space and particularly financial education. So we've been partnering with junior achievement for the last several years with the Economics for Success program. And one of the things we really enjoy working with BB and Jerry on is their creativity and allowing us to do some new things. So for those of you that maybe know the Junior Achievement Economics for Success program, you teach it about once a week for 6 weeks. You can go into the school and do that. And so we've had a number of volunteers do that over the years. But one of the things we want to do a little bit differently this year was have more impact. So we went to Jerry and BB and we asked, how can we have a bigger impact? And so we heard about JA in a Day, and so we heard about the JA in a Day program, but we wanted to teach it on site at Fidelity. We wanted to get more of our employees involved. We wanted to obviously impact more students. So we did that program, but we consolidated it. We offered technology tours at our site. We offered customer service tours at our site. And through that, we had over 100 employees involved and impacted over 500 students. So the feedback we got from our employees was terrific. They not only did they volunteer out into the classroom, but when we brought the students on site, they were able to volunteer for an hour or more. And we did it with a couple different schools, both in Durham and Wake County. And when we had it in February, we had the feedback was so great from our volunteers that they wanted to come back and do it again in April. So to close, I just wanted to say that Fidelity really is so fortunate to have just a terrific terrific partner with Junior Achievement, and we really look forward to the continued partnership and doing a lot more really fun and exciting, creative things to impact students in the community. Thank you.
Lastly, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Camden Webb. Mr. Webb is the chairman of the Board of Directors of Junior Achievement of Eastern North Carolina. And in his real pay job, he is a partner with the law firm of William & Mullen.
Thank you, Aurora. I also want to take a minute just at the outset to send some thanks out. Again, thank you to Lord Corporation. Wonderful. This is the, I believe, 4th year you put this on, so thank you very much for sponsoring us today. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my partners at Williams Mullen. Several of them are here. Williams Mullen has been a huge sponsor of JA over the years. We are co-sponsoring the Valentine's Vegas Gala. That's the little magnetic card that you have at your table. That's in February. So please, if you could join us, please do. We're still looking for sponsors. And this year, if Ron Sinchak is here, Verizon is going to be our co-presenting sponsor of that. We just found that out yesterday, so thank you to Verizon for that sponsorship. The next bit of thanks is I would like all current board members to please stand so we can recognize you and thank you for your service. All members of our board. And we also have another upcoming event. I'd like to thank Accountants One for their sponsorship of it. There's something called the Triangle's Funniest Accountants, and with all due respect to my brethren in the accounting field, that is actually a legitimate event. All relative. It is a funniest accountant, but kidding aside, it is actually, there are some very funny people in that profession, and they come out and they do stand-up, and it's a really neat event. They have the screening process where the people are selected to compete. This year, it's going to be October 29th at Good Nights. If you can go, it is a great event. And if I'm not mistaken, it's also sort of an advance, survive and advance sort of thing. If you do the best there, you go to a regional, and it's a really neat event, and it's actually some very funny people. I wanted us first, before I get into the call to action, which I'll talk about in a minute, is to go over a couple of things, some metrics that we can measure our success by. But the first thing I wanted to do is tell you a little bit about my past history with JA. I've been on the board almost 10 years now. Got on the board in '04. And to tell you the truth, I got on the board as a total lark. A guy I was in leadership Raleigh with said, you need to be on a charitable board. I figured I didn't have enough spare time, so I decided to jump in. And then I taught a class. And I will tell you, if you're wearing a green sticker, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You teach a class in junior achievement, and it will change the way you think about education and the way you think about what kids need in the classroom. It is an amazing experience. I have teachers come to me after they get JA for the first time, and they are amazed. And the reason primarily they're amazed is this curriculum that we are offering is offered by no one else. It is that simple. Some schools are doing financial literacy, those sorts of programs. But when you look at the total package we offer of financial literacy, entrepreneurship, workplace preparedness, nobody is doing what we're doing. And it is crucially important. And the teachers recognize that, and the kids love it. So if you do anything coming out of here today, go teach a class. It is a wonderful, wonderful experience. But let's talk about the success. Our organization is having a run of success that I think anybody would be envious of. The raw number of students reached, which are our core metric, is 8,500 students this past year. But that is a 35% increase between 2010 and 2013. We are growing every year at a 10 to 15% growth rate. It is just an amazing story. We still need plenty of volunteers, and we still need plenty of money, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the reach that we have and the quality of instruction we're offering to more and more students every year is just amazing. We're doing it a lot of different ways. Our traditional program, if you're not familiar with it, is you go into a classroom anywhere from kindergarten through 12th grade. There are 5 or so lessons, each one ranging from a half hour to an hour, and you do it on different days. That's the traditional model, and we still do that, and we do plenty of that. But we've also done things like JA in a day, and that's a new program we've introduced in the last 2 years. We found, for example, in North Carolina, with end of grade exams, you hit that zone of the last 2 weeks of school where the exams are done, there's no curriculum. And you go to a 5th grade teacher and say, I can offer you a half-day instruction with something the kids have never seen and they'll love, and they're all over it. So I don't know the exact numbers, but our JA in a day numbers are growing every year because we're able to do that. We also have great programs like businesses are bringing the kids to their facilities to have JA in a day. Cap Trust is hosting 40 students from Sanderson High School's Finance Academy. That's upcoming. So they bring the kids in. I know Fidelity has done the same thing. You've got all these companies bringing the kids to their facilities. They get to see the facilities, and they also get the JA program. We also have Job Shadow. What that is the kids are able to partner up with a business person and go to their office or workplace for a half a day and see exactly what they do. And it's a really great experience for the kids because they get out there and they see what the working world's about. And I'll tell you, the pitch that I tell people about JA, the wonderful, wonderful thing is when you have a kid, and you will find one in one of the classes you teach, the light bulb goes off. And they say, you know what, I can do that. I can do that. And we're talking about, I've got a 7th grader, and you talk about, when am I ever going to use this stuff? I hear that every night. But you teach a kid about the business world, and suddenly they realize this is the real deal. I know. And I've had kids say, you know, I would like to do this for a living, or I'd like to start my own business, and it's an amazing experience. On the Job Shadow, I also another word of thanks. UPS and Credit Suisse, they both did a wonderful Job Shadow program this past year, looking for more companies to do it. So as we're looking ahead, what is next for this organization? We cover 18 counties. We want to cover all the kids in all 18 counties if we can. Those numbers are, significant to reach. But in our short-term goal, i.e. the next 2 years, and my term as chairman, our goal is to reach 15,000 kids by 2015. Now, I know some math, and I realize I have to about double the reach we have right now. What that takes is volunteers and money. And the good news is we got all the money we need, okay? The bad news is it's still in your wallets, okay? For those of you who don't know, I'm an attorney. I have a skill at getting money from people. And I'm also not afraid to filibuster, so we'll be here as long as it takes. A couple of things. You have a yellow card here. We would love for you to provide your information for our database. This is simply so we know who you are and that you've attended. We'd love for everybody here to fill that out. We will just ask for some basic information so we can contact you about JA events. We also, in your brochure, have a pledge form. And this is very straightforward, and it describes exactly what we are asking in the way of a pledge. And it's my time, my treasure, my team. You'll see the three folds of the brochure. The first thing is, if you can volunteer your time, please do. If you know someone who can volunteer their time and you're tight on your own time, please talk to them. Teaching is a wonderful, wonderful way to do it. The sponsorship, or my treasure portion, we have a range of sponsorships. Just so you know, it costs us about $110 to buy the materials for one class. So that's why we have a material sponsor for one class. And when we go all in with all of our costs, it costs us about $550 for a classroom. So those are sort of the money as it shakes out. So for every one of you who might be able to sponsor a class or materials, that's another 25 or 30 students we're going to reach. Finally, there are great corporate opportunities to get involved. I was just talking to my good friend Chris Prado, who's with Quintiles. Their culture at Quintiles is you are going to volunteer. As a Quintiles employee, you're going to volunteer. And I know a lot of companies are like that. We are very much this, and I think particularly this area is very big on giving back to the community. And there are a number of great ways we can do that. We've got companies who help us out, who provide us the volunteers. We've got companies that provide us serious financial support, and we got companies everywhere in between. So if you're in a position in your company to get people to volunteer, get money for our organization, we would love to have you do that. For my banking friends, please everybody talk to Steve Krause. You guys will know the acronym CRA. He's got a wonderful plan for you guys to not only volunteer, but also make the FDIC happy. So just in closing, I really very much appreciate everyone who has come today. This organization, we started this breakfast 4 years ago. I think our crowd was about half the size. We are looking to double again next year. We're going to double our numbers in the next 2 years. We need the volunteers, we need the money. So please, before you leave today, at a minimum, let us know who you are with the yellow card. But we would love for each one of you, if you can, to fill out a pledge card, help us out, help us help our children in this community, and help us make the next generation that much more ready for the workplace. So thank you. I would like to call Aurora back up, and I think we should give her a big round of applause. Thank you very much.
On behalf of Junior Achievement and the 1,000 Eastern North Carolina youth who've already had Junior Achievement programs over the past 35 years, and for those you will help to experience Junior Achievement in the future, thank you for attending our breakfast. I hope you have a wonderful day.